The screen got all pretty too all of a sudden. Thank you so much, Lexi, for making the time to do this podcast with me. The one word I want to use to describe you is dynamic. You are such a dynamic woman in our industry. I mean, since the day I've met you, you have been a mover and a shaker. You have so many different elements to you, as long as also being a not a twin, but a
Triplet. I'm a triplet.
a triplet, which I don't know. I mean, I've known you a while and somehow I have completely missed that part of the story.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. I feel like growing up, that was always our intro into conversations of like, oh yeah, we're triplets, or people knew us as the Hoaglands. And it is kind of funny when I've known people for so long and I'm like, oh yeah, like, have I told you I'm over a triplet? And people are like, what? Like, yeah, they just don't live here. So that
Yeah, you guys could have had your own show on TLC or something.
would have been fun.
Exactly, exactly. So Lexi is the founder. I don't know the exact term you're using, but for Cowgirls and Cocktails, and she's one of the driving forces over at Lane Boots. So we've got a lot to cover today. But what I want to jump in first is just reading over your resume, and I've on quite a few people that I've interviewed lately. They have a public relations degree.
Mhm. Okay.
So, I kind of just want to visit with you a minute, especially because I have two college age daughters and I'm a believer, the degree that I would have got if I went to been a college dropout would basically, it was an ag communications degree, but everything they would have taught me way back then would have nothing to do with what I'm doing now. But just some, where you started in college and your vision and what you thought those degrees were going to do for you and where you're at now.
Perfect. So my parents were always very big early on in our definitely middle school, high school career, I would say, of meeting with people and talking to them, trying to network and just see like, okay, well, where are they at now? And is this something I'd be interested in? And so I met with an event planner and she recommended that I major in public relations. And so I really wanted an emphasis on marketing side just so that I had more of that business mindset too. And so that's what I went to school for and started out as PR and ended as PR. And so I learned a lot, especially on the writing side. I'd say I'm a very strong writer. That's something that my college really instilled in us throughout PR and writing for the newspaper or the yearbook, and really even just through that, learning how to tell a story. And so learning how to tell a story for a brand or for people, and um, also even just being a good listener. It takes a lot of listening skills to be able to convey someone's story. And I feel like a lot of those qualities have relayed over into my professional career too.
You are a good listener because
Thank
I've
you.
I've honestly noticed that about you when
Oh, that is
yes, when we've had conversations. I mean, you are so in tune and I'm always like, am I saying something weird? Because most people are like squirreling like me. I'm sometimes a bat. I mean, I'm listening, but I'm taking everything else in. But
yeah,
you're an excellent listener.
thank you so much. I really try. So that's a great compliment.
Yeah, you really, really, really are. So we've talked about this several times. So Lexi is a huge fan of my mother-in-law. And for those of you who don't know who my mother-in-law is, Brenda Van Newkirk, she is the original, we call her the Rocky Mountain Lady pant peddler. So she is the woman that made Rocky Mountain jeans famous. She is one of the brainchilds behind Cinch and Crow Girl jeans. She was really one of those first women that, like, when you want to talk about an OG or a trailblazer,
Mhm.
Brenda Van Newkirk is that. And it is so cool because I think a lot of people don't know who she is anymore. And I love how much you look up to her and
I
visit with her.
Yeah, no, I eat it up. So my first career was actually in construction, and it was on the business development and sales side, and I did learn a lot. But long story short, I fell in love with Western industry, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But I was really big on networking and specifically on LinkedIn. However, Hotel Drover had just opened up, and I was like, I have to go and see what this place is all about. It looks amazing. And I happened to be going up to the bar, and sweet little Miss Brenda Van Newkirk is sitting right there at the bar with one of her girlfriends on opening weekend. And I just started talking to her and picking her brain. And Brenda, she's so humble and she's so kind. She didn't even tell me like her past or anything like that. Her friend did. I still don't remember who her friend is to this day, but her friend was sitting in her corner and it's like, no, she's amazing. She's a rock star. She did this with like cinch jeans. And I remember I walked away and I was like, I messed up. Like I didn't get her phone number. I didn't get her email. I have no way to contact her. And so I added her on Facebook. And I would not leave this woman alone. I was like, I think you're so cool. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but I remember we were trying to get lunch often. And so when my start in the industry was with National Roper Supply, everyone there talked about her equally to the highest like rank as I do as well. And I was like, wait, I know her. I met her at Hotel Drover. And I just felt so honored that she had then became like someone that I was also able to look up to. And so anytime I see her, I try and make sure that she knows like if she has one fan, it is me. And I will tell her over and over again like how amazing I think that she is. And so I am a huge fan of her.
Well, that's what the picture we just took at the Cowgirl Hall of Fame luncheon, and you had your arm in her arm, and it just meant like it was so special that none of that wasn't planned. The picture wasn't planned. Where we stood was not planned. It was a really great picture of epic people
Mhm.
of all ages in our industry that are doing amazing things. And a lot of them, you know, are not doing it by promoting themselves on social media, or it's literally the good old fashioned way of them just becoming epic. So it was just, that was a really special picture to me. And I love that you and Brenda are arm in arm in that.
Oh, she's awesome. I love her so much.
Yes. Yes. So I want to get to the Cowgirls and Cocktails. And
Okay.
you know what a huge fan I am of what you're doing, because I feel like so many other people have tried to kind of invent what you're doing, and they kind of make it about them first.
Mhm.
And that is not at all the type of person you are. And the class that you have brought to the table with creating this group for women, and guys can come too, I guess, if they want
Yeah,
to.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I won't say
Yes.
no.
All cowgirls want cowboys, so it's fine. So, but I kind of want to, where did you dream up this name,
Mhm.
and your why behind it?
So my why behind it started when I was in construction. I love saying I was in construction because you look at me and you're like, "Wait, what?" And I was definitely on the office side, but like I'd said, I was in business development. But they just had so many different opportunities for one as a young person and two as a person within that industry to go and learn and to engage with other people, whether it was architects or subcontractors or whoever it may be, and just meet. But then also opportunities to be able to go and learn about the state of the market and where things were heading in like 5 or 10 years. And so construction wasn't initially ever my passion, but it was an amazing, amazing industry to at least get me started in my career. And I'm so thankful for that company. Taught me a lot about culture and a lot about networking. But when I fell in love with Western and ended up at my job over at National Roper Supply, I really struggled with the idea of FOMO because I would see women in our industry hanging out, and I craved that connection so bad. And I am not here to change anything about our industry. I don't come from our industry. I've just fallen in love with it. But I'm here to learn, and I'm here to continue to take what has already happened and spread it to literally as many people as we can. And so I when I saw them all hanging out, I'm like, well, why aren't they inviting me? One, they don't know me. And so I just sat on this idea for truly, I think, like 9 months of I don't know how Cowgirls and Cocktails came into play other than initially I just wanted us to like go to happy hour every month. And I just thought it was catchy and something that could like last in people's mind. And so I sat on the idea for about 9 months. I was absolutely terrified what people in our industry were going to say because, again, I don't come from this industry. I've been taught that, like, um, not how do I best say this? I don't know that like I need to be able to learn first before I go and move.
Yeah.
And I get that, but I was just sitting there and I'm like, if I feel so strongly about this and there's nothing like this that's happening, then the least I can do is just try. And so I was a random Sunday afternoon. I just up and started a Facebook page called Cowgirls and Cocktails, invited all of my friends. And I remember not friends like this, but just like that's all I had was just like a few girlfriends. And anyways, I invited my friends, begged my friends to come to my first event. And I think we had, I need to go back and count, but like maybe 11 people show up. And I begged each of them to come. I was like, please just come. It could be fun. And there's some of them that have been like day ones and have come ever since. And not that they've came to every event, but it's been really cool to see it grow from 11 people to averaging to about 60 to 80 people and then
Yeah.
to now hosting one in Vegas at the National Finals Rodeo. And so that's all happened within about 2 years. And so, yeah, that's why it started.
No, it's amazing, and even for because I didn't start coming to them probably till after you'd been doing them for a year, and we just finally got all connected.
Yeah.
And what's so special about them? I mean, I'm a 50-year-old woman. I'm not the young mover and shaker in there anymore, and I've been in the industry my whole life, and it's revitalizing to me to see someone like you to come into our industry because whether you're from the industry or you're not, we need new people, new ideas, fresh blood, all the things to keep our industry growing. But
Mhm.
for me as an older woman to come into, this is a whole new era for me, the content creators and the influencers and all the things, they're like, is it just going to be those kind of girls there? And it's not. I mean, we have editors from all of our biggest magazines there. I mean, it's all ages, all different aspects. And we even have what's great is real estate agents come that sell
Yeah.
farm and ranch, and women that are mortgage in the mortgage business that do farm and ranch, or, they're connect, or they may just be straight, in banking, and
Yeah.
they college rodeoed and they don't even have horses today, but it's
Mhm.
a tie back to the industry they love. And it's actually been such a powerful thing that you're one Sunday afternoon.
I know. Blown up in the best way, and I want to keep up. Like
Yeah.
there's so much I want to do with the group, and it will get there in like due time. But it has been great so far.
Yes.
But I mean, like you said too, there's even women who I have friends or people that I meet of like, oh, I'm not in Western or I'm not in agriculture. I'm like, I don't care. Like, just
Yeah.
come. It's something fun to do, and like there's no way we're going to grow our industry if we don't continue to invite people in. And so I don't care if they don't own a horse or if they're not a fifth generation rancher. I want the chiropractors of the world, the medical salespeople of the world, because if we can start one first generation cowgirl, then like,
Yes.
praise God. Like,
Yes.
that means
Well,
we're growing. So,
no, that's what, I there's so much, a little bit of controversy around Taylor Sheridan and everything he's doing, negative, positive. And I look at it as he has brought so many first time
mhm,
new to buy a cowboy hat, to buy a pair of boots that maybe grandpa, wore them, but then through that next generation, it's over. And that's the type of people that have to be in our industry, that are loud and, showing people at the end of the day, every person, I believe this with my whole heart, every person in the world wants to be a little bit of a cowboy or a cowgirl.
mhm.
They're just too scared to do it.
And I hope they do. I hope they do
Yeah.
what.
Yes. And because of people like you, it's open, it's cracking that door open to them. For them and we both own, or we both work with businesses in our industry that if people aren't buying our products, we don't have jobs.
Mhm.
So, we've got to have that. So you're doing an amazing job. And I hope from this podcast you get 100 more people to come.
I hope so too.
Yes. And it ties back. I love, love, love your catchphrase that you sent to me. That is amazing. And if you want to tell everybody your catchphrase, I think it's fantastic.
Thank you. I see, I've thought about it forever, and I'm like, I don't know if I can truly coin it other than I think a friend may have told me about it. So I will say that, but it's how I aspire for this group to be. But our catchphrase is to build a longer table and not a taller fence for women in Western and agriculture. I feel like as someone who entered into the industry, and the industry was never my lifestyle per se growing up, I say lifestyle. I'd say my parents definitely engraved the morals and values into us of the industry, but I wasn't on a ranch or a farm growing up. But um, I feel like I've learned as an industry outsider coming in that like it can be really hard to feel like you have a place here. And I never want that, especially with my group. I want everyone to feel like they have a say in the conversation, a person to walk up to, um, someone that they're able to meet and feel like, wow, that was a really special group of women that I just got to be a part of. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we are definitely building a longer table and not a taller fence.
Oh, you are. You are. So you got to be involved in a pretty fun fashion show a few weeks ago or a month ago.
Mhm.
Time
Yeah,
goes by too fast. So, for Good Babes, and they did a fantastic job. Shelby over there did a fantastic job. You looked absolutely amazing
thank
in your
you.
OSU orange suit.
I loved it.
Yeah. Charlie's like, yeah, Lexi OSU. So,
Thank you.
uh, but what was so amazing is when the event was for Freedom House for women that for domestic violence,
Yes.
and it was very surprising to me the story you stood up and talked about,
Mhm.
because never, you are such a strong in your faith woman,
Yeah.
and it was so shocking to me when you stood up and told your story of
Mhm.
the relationship you had just got out of.
Yeah. I'm a believer, a very strong believer, and I know that God has given me a gift to be outspoken in a good way. And I never thought that someone that I would love would emotionally abuse me, or however you want to say it. But it's been a very traumatic experience that I've gone through. And so I've prayed through it consistently since it happened earlier this year. I was just like, God, what are you wanting me to do with my story here? And so, um, Shelby, when she had shared that like the donations from her event were going to go back to Freedom House for women who have experienced any form of domestic violence, when I had gone through like the emotional abuse that I did endure, I didn't know where to turn other than to friends and prayer. And I just didn't know that there were resources. And thankfully, it was never at a place where like I needed a place to stay or anything like that. But I reached out to Shelby and said, thank you so much for doing this. Like, it's so nice to know that there's resources locally out here for women to be able to reach out to. Um, I'm just really honored to be a part of this event. Thank you so much. And so I pull up at the event, and uh, her coworkers come out and they're like, "Did Shelby talk to you?" And I was like, "About what?" And they said, "She wants you to speak." And I said, "About what?" And they said, "About your story and like kind of what you've gone through." And I just kind of took a moment and stepped back of like, this must be an answer to prayer on how God wants me to talk to maybe someone who's sitting there tonight. And so I did keep it very vague of just like, I went through an abusive situation earlier this year. It is so hard to get out, but that there's so much strength when you are able to leave, and that there's so much light, like truly, when you are able to get out. And I feel like even now, a few weeks out after that fashion show, I'm able to sit here and just say, like, I feel great. I feel like so many opportunities and doors have been opened because I had the courage to leave, because I had the courage to walk away. And it took multiple times to not be manipulated back into a situation or whatever it may be. And there's still counseling that goes through that. But like, God has been so good to me during that relationship and protecting me. And then also post that relationship and showing me that there's so much goodness and like more things to come because I left.
Yes. Yes, it's I look back at relationships I was in with different individuals,
Mhm.
and not that I would say anything escalated to what you did, but I think back, there were times that if I would have continued that relationship, or where it would have went, and just how when you love somebody, how you go, oh, well, maybe it's me, or maybe I said, you just start making all these weird excuses.
Yeah.
And I commend you for standing up, because I have two daughters and I need women like you that they look up to and go, wait, no, that's not acceptable, or these are signs, or they can reach out to you, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't have friends. I have great friends, but that I knew had gone through something similar to be able to rely on and be like, is this normal? Because it was the first person that I ever loved. And I saw a quote the other day, or a poem, and it started out like, I painted every red flag green. And I feel like that's exactly what I did. I
Mhm.
justified every action, I justified all the manipulations, or whatever it was. And so, I do feel like it's important for me in some regard to people I may not know to be a little bit more outspoken than others. And so,
Mhm.
even with Cowgirls and Cocktails, I mean, I've tried to implement my story in some way into like what we're doing. Of last week, earlier, well, yeah, we did an event with War Party Ranch that primarily teaches Indigenous women situational awareness tactics. And so, I mean, I can be open with you and you know about this, but like I had a tracker put on my car that I would have never have known how to check for something like that. And so I feel like it would have done a disservice to the women that I'm trying to reach by not sharing. If you're even curious if this could be happening to you, this is how you check. This is how you look for one. This is how you know that you have one. And then also through War Party, trying to educate them on different things that they can do to be just more aware in their everyday surroundings on some of the scary things of life. So,
Yes. Yeah. No. Well, thank you for sharing your story, and
yeah,
it's a really really big deal, and that's why I use the word dynamic for you.
thank
So
you.
in that dynamic, so your other part of your life, which you're drinking out of your lane boots, Stanley there.
Yes.
uh, what I want to get some business aspects from you on, since with the Cowgirls and Cocktails, you I don't I mean, you are a content creator in some form, or a mover and a shaker,
Mhm.
um and then being on the marketing side and what you do for Lane. And I deal with this, and I kind of want to get your take on it, but especially right now during NFR, the amount of DMs and emails that I'm getting from content creators
Yeah,
that want free stuff or want me to pay them,
yeah,
and they don't even take the time, especially for me, because what are you gonna like what are you gonna do for me? It's socks. So
yeah.
you walking around the trade show in a pair of socks that nobody can see. So you might want to kind of tell me what you're doing, and actually put, I would love to wear in my outfits a pair of Lucky Chuck performance socks so my feet don't get hurt, da 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 da.
Yeah,
Instead I get this copy and paste, and I'm like, you want me to invest my name and my stuff with you, but you literally can't take 3 minutes to update what you're sending me.
right.
So I just think from your side of it, what would be great advice to up the game for these content creators?
Something that I've seen, like, especially throughout the year, working on our creator program, is one thing that I notice all the time is how am I supposed to know who you are if you don't link your Instagram? I can't find every uh,
Uh-huh.
whatever their name is on Instagram and like think that this might be them. I want a direct link to know, okay, well, what are you already producing? Is it in line with what we as a brand value and what we're looking for? But I think that's something that creators miss a lot is you have to be linking your Instagram directly in the email or the reach out. if it's not a DM directly. I recommend email personally over a DM just
Yes.
because you may not be working with the direct person through a DM who runs those creator programs. So if you can find an email and get it to somebody, likely they are going to forward it on to the right person. Um, because we had that. Like we had someone who was over social and then I was over creators. Um, I'd say for at least like say the NFR, we look for a vision, especially this year. We want someone who wants to be high fashion, who has an idea, who is telling us exactly how they want to wear their boots and why it's important to them. And we had one girl, I think I can call her out. I think it was Coyote Kylie who reached out to us and did an amazing job presenting her idea to us as a brand as to like why she wanted a pair of our Lexingtons for one of her outfits. And we were able to see the value and like, yeah, this is exactly the content that we would want to reuse as a brand, and not just, hey, can I have some boots, or hey, I mean, that's all great, and we want anyone who's like willing to show love for our brand to be able to talk about it, but it adds value to us when we're sending a $400 pair of boots off to somebody as to like, okay, well, why? So
Yes. Well, I feel like if this is your business and you are the brand, you
mhm.
need, you've got to work, you got to show us what you have. And that's, I mean, especially for me, and Shelby said it when she was in my last photo shoot. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize how hard it is to promote socks." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, if I can't even get an email or a DM, which when they DM me, I say, please send all, send it to this email. So if they
Right.
don't even email me,
Mhm.
that's
Uh,
strike one. And then if the email starts, hey, that's strike two. But
yeah.
anyways, but I'm like, you have to lead me to water. Show me how you're going to grow this for me. Show me how it's a benefit because,
Especially if you don't have a relationship with the brand. Like
and
that's
that,
perfect way to start a relationship with a brand is to give them either a vision board or a mood board of what you're going for or just a pitch. And
yes,
everything in our industry is relationship driven, and
yes,
especially if you are a content creator,
yes.
especially.
The other tidbit is I love when they're not even following the brand.
Oh, yeah.
I would say 75% of the people that have reached out to me don't even follow Lucky Chuck.
That's so interesting.
Yes, or
Huh.
my favorite is when they're like presenting it. It's a super young content creator that maybe got famous pretty fast.
Uh-huh.
And so then they like to let me know what the NFR is.
Really?
Yes, those are my favorite. They go into this whole thing about who they are and the NFR and if I'd ever been, and I'm just like, did you
You
just
need to
Google the owner of Lucky Chuck brand?
you need to send back like, "Honey, this is not my first
It's
rodeo."
rodeo. I just, one of the best advice, and I use it most of the time, unless there's another reason. But one of my best friends, Jay Johnson, that she's head of marketing at Equibrand. They don't do anything pretty much with anybody unless they ask 3 times. Sponsorships, everything. Like you don't get anything the first time. How bad do you want Equibrand? How bad do you want to work with them?
Wow,
So it's
interesting. I like
yes,
that tactic.
yes. So
Wow.
that's why I wanted to tell you that. But I do, and I'll have people say, "Well, I sent you an email," and I said, "You think just one email gets my attention?
Yeah,
Like, bring it."
yeah, makes so
Yes.
interesting.
Yes. But no, it's very interesting and I love that I don't even know um I mean, I've gotten a couple pitches, but I haven't had any of them, which like I do a lot with Morgan Nicole and
Yeah,
she always calls me, okay, this for this quarter or this month, this is my vision, this is where I think we should go, or, how are my pictures working? And which, when I started Lucky Chuck, I was very fashion driven, thinking that with a cute outfit, great socks, but you could wear them as a cowgirl. And, through that journey, we found those don't they don't work.
Mm,
Everything that works for us is very hardcore Western, horses,
mm,
cowgirl. And so, Morgan's had to kind of shift what she does for us on that. And she's been very pliable, which is great. And
she's the best. I
she is the
love
best.
her. She's such
Yes.
a good friend of mine now. She's
Yes.
a blessing.
And she's such a woman of God, too. I
Oh, yeah.
mean, yes. We went to dinner um, last January market, her and two other gals that were working for me. And the one gal, I knew something was eating her up. I knew something wasn't right. But I just met her, like, and I'm kind of her boss. It's just that weird situation. And we just randomly, it wasn't planned. Morgan text, "Hey, let's go eat." I'm like, "Sure, let's go." Booked a reservation at Javier's. We ran over there, and she, whatever, it was such a God thing that that gal came and worked for me, and that dinner happened, and Morgan had been in a similar situation or similar struggle, and what was shared over that table that night was just
Mm,
moving. And I had no idea that Morgan, I was, we'd been friends for quite a while, but I didn't know that side of her, and it was
yeah.
just a whole new level of respect.
I know what you're talking about because I had one of those lunches with Morgan too, and it's one that I hope I never forget
Yeah.
because and that's why I say when she's a blessing. Like, I think the Lord truly speaks through Morgan in the way that she is able to convey to people. She's another great listener and great communicator when it comes to business, but also in just personal life. She has the best heart I think I've probably ever met, and I hope Morgan is a forever friend of mine.
Yeah,
But
me
I
too.
know exactly what you're talking about on those
Yes.
dinners. I'm like,
Yes.
"Woo, I was rocked at lunch today, and the Lord spoke to me, and I didn't know it."
Yes. Yeah. No, it's been great. So I'm actually, she just got all of her socks because my container, everything was behind like 3 weeks because they got stuck at the container or the port. So I know literally, I bet in the next 48 hours I will have a call from her. So it's coming. She's gonna
I'm
be
supposed to have a call with her tonight, actually. I'm
okay.
supposed
Yeah,
to.
you can tell her, ask her her ears were burning. We were talking about her.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Well, I just want to thank you so much for making the time to do this. And like I said, it has been such a blessing to become friends with you. I know you're a forever friend, and I just adore you, and I adore the love you have for my mother-in-law, and I feel like you're going to be an intricate part some way in my life or my daughter's life. I don't know how that works, but
Mm,
especially the people that you're teamed up with at Lane has been
mm,
such an integral part of my life in the industry. So it's
yeah.
really special. And now Christy, my I call her the unicorn, joining your team.
Yeah.
I know. I told her, I said, "I'm going to buy you a unicorn outfit to show up at market the first day."
Right.
Yes. But yeah, the magic, when people are like, "Well, tell me about her." I'm like, "She's a flippin' unicorn."
Oh, she can do it all.
Yeah, she can. So, anyways, but I want to thank you so much.
Yes.
And I cannot wait, which this will air after the NFR. But I cannot wait to see all your epic NFR outfits.
Me too. I don't know what I'm about to put together,
Yes.
but
Yeah. She showed me before we got on, we started recording, just so you guys know, she has some amazing furs from Morrison K. I've been a customer and fan of Joel at Morrison K for years. So if you need a fur, call Morrison K first.
oh, it's stunning. So,
Now you just need to top it off with jewelry from Reed's Jewelers.
okay, I'm down. I'll wear that.
Yes. I'll hook you. I'll make that relationship connection for you.
Twist my arm. I'll wear some diamonds.
Yes. What do you, yeah. Drench me in diamonds.
All
Yes.
right. Well, thank
Yes.
you, Miranda. I appreciate you.
Okay. You have a great day, and thanks again.
You too. Bye.